Okay, here's the video solutions for the practice test that we were working on today. So number one, name the inverse operation used to solve this equation. Well, we know here we have a plus 12, so the inverse operation minus 12. We call it negative 12, but in terms of the multiple choice, it's subtraction. Number two, name the inverse operation used to solve this equation. We know a number next to a letter means multiply, so the inverse operation would be dividing by negative 3. Okay? All right, number three, we have 1 minus 10x equals 81. So I'm going to do my same chain switch, so that's actually negative 10x. And this is a one-step equation. So opposite of the number is negative 1 on both sides. They cancel, left with negative 10x equals 80. And then I do opposite of the operation, which is divide by negative 10. And x equals, excuse me, negative 8. Okay? Number 4, we know from class that this one is incorrect. It doesn't have the right answer, so we're just going to do the equation. P plus 7 equals negative 23. Well, this is just a one-step equation. So as soon as I do opposite of the number, which is negative 7 on both sides, my P is already by itself because there was nothing attached to it. So remember, this is and. It's grouping together or adding. So negative 23 and negative 7 is negative, negative 30. And that answer isn't there. Okay, number 5. We have 1.9k minus 3 minus 7.5k equals 4. So we're going to do our same change, opposite, same change, opposite. So I don't have to do the distributive property, but I do have to combine like terms. I have k's and k's. So I have positive and negative, so I'm going to take the sign of the bigger number, which is negative, and then 7.5 minus 1.9 would actually give me 5.6k. And then I have my negative 3 equals 4. All right, I don't have variables on both sides, so I have a two-step equation. So the opposite of the number, which is positive 3, gives me negative 5.6k equals 7. And then opposite of the operation, so I'm going to divide by negative 5.6, divide by negative 5.6. And then I just have a division problem. So positive divided by negative is negative, and then 7 divided by 5.6. So I move the decimal over, so I move it over and bring it up. So that was 0. So the note goes in there one time. Okay? And then add another 0. And the note goes in there twice. So that's 112. Now, if I look at my answers, that can't be it, and that can't be it. 1.2, all right? And it has to be negative, so we know it's going to be 1.25 because that's the answer right there. Okay, number 6. So I have negative 5 times, open parentheses, 4d plus 14 equals negative 130. So I'm going to do distributive property. So negative 5 times 4d is negative 20d plus negative 5 times 14 is negative 70. And that equals negative 130. All right, and it's already a two-step equation. So I do opposite of the number, which is positive 70 on both sides. So I'm left with negative 20d equals negative 60. And then divide by negative 20, divide by negative 20. And a negative divided by negative is positive, and 60 divided by 20 is 3. Okay, number 7. I have negative 5 times 3x minus 4 in parentheses equals 222.5. Okay, so we're going to do distributive property. I'm going to do my same change opposite. Okay, negative 5 times 3x is negative 15x plus negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20. And then the other side I have 222.5. Okay, don't have to combine like terms. I don't have variables on both sides, so I have a two-step equation. So opposite of the number would be negative 20. So make sure you line this up when you're dealing with negatives. So that would be lined up there. So that's going to be 5 decimal 202. And then I'm going to do opposite of the operation. So divide by negative 15. So x equals, so I have a positive divided by a negative, it's a negative. Okay? And then 202.5 divided by 15. So that goes in there once. That's 15. Bring down. 15 goes into 52 3 times. That's 45. 7 left over, bring down that 5, and 15 goes into 75 5 times. Now don't forget, that decimal needs to be brought up. So I have 13.5, and I already knew it was a negative, so that was actually C. Number 8. So 4x minus 9 equals 23. This one we know from class is the answer's not there, so I'll same change opposite. So it's already a two-step equation. So I do opposite of the number, which is adding 9. So 4x equals 32, and then divide by 4, x equals 8. In this problem, what they actually did is that was minus 9. They did a minus 9 over here. So they got 23 minus 9 is 14, and then 4 goes into 14 3.5 times. That's how they got one of their answers, so they messed up. Okay, number 9, solve the equation. So I have 55 equals 5t plus 2t minus 8. So I'll do my same change opposite. No distributive property, but I do have combining like terms. Remember our checking. We can't cross that barrier. Okay, but on this side I have 3 terms, and obviously I have t's and t's, so I can add them up. So I have 55 equals 7t plus negative 8. I don't have variables on both sides, so now we're left with a two-step equation. So I have to get rid of that negative 8, so opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. So that's 63 equals 7t, and then opposite operation. So t is going to equal 9. Okay, number 10, negative 2x minus 3 plus 5x equals negative 3. Okay, so same change opposite. Don't have any distributive property, but I do have to combine my terms. I have x's and x's on the same side. So negative 2x and positive 5x is 3x. Don't add them up. When you have a positive and a negative, you take the sign of the larger number and subtract. Okay, I don't have variables on both sides, but I do have a two-step equation left. So opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. They cancel, so I'm left at 3x equals 0, which is okay. And then divide by 3, divide by 3. Well, 0 divided by anything is 0, which is actually one of our answers. Okay, number 11. So you have 4.5 times negative 2w minus 7.2 equals 23.4. So I'm going to do same change opposite. Okay, I'm going to multiply distributive properties. So 4.5 times negative 2 is actually going to give me a negative 9w plus 4.5 times negative 7.2 is going to be a negative, and I'll just do my math. So 10, it's going to be 9, go over a place, 35, 3, 28, 31, 0, 14, 2. So there's 2 decimal places, so 2 here, so that's going to be negative 32.4 equals 23.4. I don't have variables on both sides, so I do opposite of the number, which is this decimal, which is fine. You can do decimals. So negative or positive 32.4, positive 32.4, they cancel. So I have negative 9w equals 8, 5, so 55.8. Divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9. So w equals negative, and then I just divide. So I have 55.8 divided by 9. Bring your decimal up. So 9 goes into 55 6 times. That's 54. 1 left over. 9 goes into 18 twice. Exactly. So we know it was negative, and it's 6.2. So again, 11 was another one that wasn't done correctly from the site where we got it. Okay, number 12. So I have negative 5 times negative 5 plus 4v equals negative 15. Okay, so do your distributive property. So negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Negative 5 times 4v is negative 20v. And I have negative 15 on the other side. Okay, I can't combine like terms. I don't have variables on both sides. So we're left with a two-step equation. So opposite of the number, which is a negative 25, negative 25. So I have negative 20v equals, remember this is add, so it's adding. That's negative 40. Now I divide by negative 20, divide by negative 20, and a negative divided by negative is a positive. 40 divided by 20 is 2. Okay, 13, I have 6 times, I'm just going to put 0.5x like that, plus 3 equals 27. So distributive property first. So that's going to be 6 times a half. 6 halves is 3. So 3x. 6 times 3 is 18 equals 27. I don't have to combine like terms, and I don't have variables on both sides, so we just do two-step equation. So opposite of the number, so 3x equals 9, and opposite of the operation. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, 2 left. All right, we have negative 3 times 2m plus 1 equals negative 6. So do your distributive property. So that's negative 6m. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Okay, I don't have combining like terms. I don't have variables on both sides, so it looks like a two-step equation. So opposite of the number. And then I do opposite of the operation. Big thing here on your test, make sure you're doing your integers right. Negative and a positive, so I have more negatives, and I subtract. You know that rule from 7th grade. Okay, now opposite of the operation, so I'm going to divide by negative 6. Okay, negative divided by negative is a positive, and 3/6 can be simplified to 1/2. So in this instance, it's actually would have been that letter. Finally, the last one, negative 13 equals negative 7r minus 3 plus 2r. So I got the same change switch. All right, don't have any distributive property, but I do have combining like terms. If you look on the right-hand side, if we make our balance, that I have as r's, numbers, and r's, so I can combine the r's. So I have negative 13 equals negative 7r and positive 2r's would be negative 7 and positive 2 is negative 5, and they're r's. Then I have my negative 3. Okay, I don't have variables on both sides, so we're left with a two-step equation. So here's my number term. So the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. Okay, negative 13 and positive 3 would be negative 10. Okay, and then opposite of the operation, so I'm going to divide by negative 5. So r equals negative divided by negative is positive, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. All right, hopefully that helps you, and make sure you get to the practice test and then go to the quiz to help you even more. Bring all that work tomorrow to class or Friday, depending on which one you're in.